to another episode of the BJack 70 Show. I'm your host, Brandon Jackson, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Getting into recap of Brandon's bets, a little Shedeur Sanders, of course, because you know we're going to talk about Shedeur on this here show, and a little bit of Baker Mayfield, because we're also going to talk a little bit of Baker Mayfield on this here podcast. But before we get into all that, appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Follow the channel. Join the ever growing community. And come have fun. Come have fun. Watch the videos. I like to think they're pretty entertaining. So I think, you know, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking, how you like the channel. But yeah, let's we got a lot to talk about, so let's not dilly dally. Let's just get right into it. Recapping Brandon's bets, a 3-2 week, another 3-2 week. Um, damn, Denver Broncos and the Vegas Raiders, they really hold me. They really screwed me. Why would the Raiders kick a field goal with 5 seconds left, down 10, to lose by 7? Apparently it also made the over hit. Um, Pete Carroll needs to be investigated. Um, Not a fan of that. It was 24-7 in the fourth quarter. Raiders got the ball. They scored. Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett. Um, scored. Got him. Led him on a touchdown drive. They score. It's 14-24. Broncos inexplicably go for a fourth down, don't get it, give it back to the Raiders. Raiders are driving, and the goddamn Broncos, one of their DBs, gets to delay a game because he lays on a receiver that caught the ball to try to run the clock out. Well, the clock stops. They bring the field goal unit out and kill Broncos 7.5 dead on arrival. Broncos 7.5 didn't hit. I'm going out of order because that one really, really infuriated me. While we're talking about things that pissed me off, Jalen goddamn Hurts. I just watched it. I'm recording right after the game ended. Eagles -2.5. Jalen Hurts, 4 interceptions, 5 turnovers, 2 turnovers on one single play. If you haven't seen it, he threw an interception. The Chargers defender fumbled the ball. Jalen recovered the fumble standing up, and he tried to advance it, and then he got stripped and fumbled again. Chargers recover that. The first quarterback since they started tracking turnovers in 1933 to have 2 turnovers on the same play. Basically, the first one ever recorded. I You can't make this up. You can't make this up. They had, Eagles had their chances. Chargers, credit to them, credit to Justin Herbert for playing with a broken hand. I didn't think he was going to play. I didn't expect him to play. He didn't play that effective, but I mean, it really wasn't his fault. He was under duress every single time he dropped back to pass. They got to figure out something with the offensive line. I don't know how they have that many wins and seemingly are headed to the playoffs with an offensive line that bad. Something's gonna have to give there. But but yeah, so Eagles -2.5 didn't hit. Broncos -7.5 didn't hit. But the other three did hit. Seahawks -6.5, that was winning all day. Bengals +5.5 was a little closer for closer than I would have liked it to end, given how given the what the Bengals were up. Um, but nevertheless, they came through plus 5.5 hit, and then the Texans plus 3.5 against the Chiefs, won outright. We were all over this. Um, but it wasn't even because like the edges got crazy crazy sack numbers. It was just the rest of the defense played excellent, and the Chiefs are broken. The receivers can't catch the ball. Um, Travis Kelsey. Travis Kelsey was a good dude. We support him. Cleveland Heights, shout out Cleveland Heights. Um, he's a Hall of Famer. Will walk in 5 years after the day that he retires. Um, eh, hopefully for his sake and everybody else's sake, that clock starts week 18 this year. Um, it was a bad performance. He gave the ball, just handed the ball to the Texans, pretty much. Um, wasn't a great show. And the Chiefs, it's it's over. It's over. They had an amazing run, outstanding run. Um, Made a lot of money betting on the Chiefs previously, and that is no longer the case. I'm glad I got off the ship. Glad I bet the Texans. Um, but yeah, that seems, especially since the Chargers won tonight, seems like that's about it for them this season. Like they obviously have to win out, and they need the Chargers to fall apart. They need a couple teams to fall apart if they even want to have a chance. And even with that, like I said, they got to win out. They got to go 4-0. Given how that team has looked, don't really think that's possible. So that's enough talking about the Chiefs. Let's recapping Brandon's bets. 3-2 week, another profitable week. Got hold on one. Should have been at least 4-1. Jalen Hurts. It is what it is. It is what it is. I said it. I knew the Eagles were a broken offense, not a great team. I thought they would be able to take advantage of the Chargers. Thought the Chargers would charger, but they didn't tonight. That's a sign of a good, developing, growing football team. The Chargers didn't charge her, so shout out to them. But 3-2 week. I don't have the overall record. I forget what my record was. I think it was 38-27. So that would make me 41-29 right now. Don't have a calculator. Can't do the math on that. Don't know uh, how close, if that is 60% or not. But we're gonna just we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. So, all right, what's next? I think you know what's next. I think you know what's next. I think you know what we're gonna talk about. And the first thing I want to say is, what are Dylan Gabriel's fiance's thoughts about what happened on Sunday? About how the Browns played against the Tennessee Titans on Sunday. What are her thoughts? Because we heard that she has a lot of thoughts about Dylan not starting. Um, you know, Browns lost. What's new? I'm interested. The class wants to know what she thinks. We're very interested in what she thinks. Um, so if anybody can get that info, I would love to hear it. I would love to know what she's thinking. But I have a thought. And that thought is, we wasted 11 weeks of the season, most of them on Dylan Gabriel, because we have a gentleman named Shedeur Sanders, fifth round pick, that came into the game, threw for 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, and ran for another one with an interception, a pretty bad interception. But that's the stat line. 364 and 3 touchdowns. He got to the red zone and finally got to throw a pass in the red zone, and what do you know? And what do you know? He finally got to throw some passes in the end zone, and by golly, he completed them for touchdowns. What? Who would have? Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk it? Not Kevin Stefanski. I know that for sure. But he, this was his third start. This was his third start, and I know the talking point is, yeah, but it was against the Titans. And I hear you, and I hear that point, but my counterpoint is the Titans are an NFL team, aren't they? They're one of the 32 NFL franchises, aren't they? They do employ NFL players on that team, don't they? And yeah, it was only the Titans. Well, if it was only the Titans, why hasn't anybody else that they played throw for 364? And yeah, you can say, look at the Titans' record. They're 1-11. Yeah, I think 1-11 coming into the game. You could say that the teams they went against didn't have to pass that much because they were winning the game. But I mean, 364 yards is 364 yards in the NFL. Like you don't just fake your way into 364 yards. And if you watch the game and not just looked at the box score, you would see the 364 yards that he threw for were were real. It wasn't he didn't throw a touchdown like he threw to Dylan Sampson. Like, yeah, he threw it to Jerry Judy. Jerry Judy took it maybe about 40, but the other two, he put real work in. All these other yards, he put real work in. And of course, quarterbacks they're gonna throw it, keep their receivers in stride. Yeah, yeah, there's some yards after the catch, but most of these yards are real yards. You don't fluke your way into 350 plus yards in the NFL. You just don't. You just don't. And everybody's seen the highlights by now. He's throwing these balls under duress with the most accuracy that we've seen from a Cleveland Browns quarterback since I don't know when. We haven't had a quarterback making passes this accurate. Have we had one? I know we had Baker Mayfield and his calling card coming out of Oklahoma was his accuracy, but we 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 got flashes of it. We never got it consistently. This game that we got from Shedeur, we got numerous passes that are threading the needle, layered over defenders, being thrown with pressure, being thrown while getting hit. There's numerous occasions of this happening, and him standing there, taking the hits, delivering the ball when it needed to be delivered, where it needed to be delivered accurately. People, like I said earlier, he's a fifth round pick. People wanted me to believe that he wasn't an NFL quarterback. real people said he's a CFL backup. They're in my TikTok comments. He's a CFL backup. He's not as good as Dylan. Oh, if on my video when I said Dylan Gabriel is a backup quarterback and that's okay, what does that make Shedeur? That makes him a that makes him a fourth string. That means he's not even good to be in the NFL. Y'all saying that now? Yeah, y'all not saying that now. Your only defense move is, oh, it was against the Titans. But nobody else has thrown 364 against the Titans. Nobody else has done it this season. So, and when we're evaluating quarterback play, we get too caught up in the numbers and the stats of the defense. I don't care who you are. When he's throwing these passes, there are defenders on the receivers. I don't care what the Titans have done 11, 12, 13 weeks prior to Sunday. When he's out there and he's throwing these passes, these defenders are his receivers are covered or slightly open. He's throwing these passes, throwing these guys open. Like all these passes to Harold Fannin were incredible plays from Harold Fannin, but they're not able to be made if the pass isn't where it needs to be. They just don't the plays just don't get made if that's the case. So I don't know what else you want him to do. He's playing against the teams that are on the schedule that are next up on the schedule. He's been named the starter for the rest of the year. So we don't have to worry about him having a bad game, getting benched for Dylan Gabriel, getting benched for Deshaun Watson. If Stefanski is a man of his word, we don't have to worry about that for Shedeur unless he gets hurt. Now, the next thing that we talk about with Shedeur Sanders is, can he play? Is he a is the first thing is he a franchise quarterback? And when I sit here, a huge Shedeur Sanders fan, I am. I very much am. You can look through all the videos that I've posted on this channel. I'm a Shedeur Sanders fan. The question, is he a franchise quarterback, is a question that I still don't have an answer for yet. Because even him coming out of Colorado in the pre draft process, I don't think I ever said that he was going to be a life changing, life altering franchise quarterback. I do not believe I've ever said that. What I have said that he is a starting quarterback. He's going to be one of your best 32 in the league, and I think he's going to fall in that 10 to 20 range. He's going to fall in that average starting quarterback range. Hmm. Because yes, like we all know, like the talking points get brought up to death. The drifting in the pocket, the holding the ball too long, the taking sacks. That was an issue, and he is improving. But he still needs to improve more. There were real things in his game that needed to be improved. But what a lot of people like me saw, what Mel Kiper saw, what a lot of people on the internet saw is his ball placement throwing the football is elite. it is elite when he sits back there and has time and knows where he's throwing the ball to. The the ball placement is elite, and I have no problem saying that because ever since he's stepped on an NFL field in OTAs, in training camp, against the Panthers in the preseason, against the Raiders, against um against the Niners, against the Titans, w- like when he gets a chance to set his feet and throw a pass, he's putting it in between places that Dylan Gabriel couldn't even think of. And it's not even just Dylan Gabriel, it's a lot. There's there's a lot of quarterbacks that couldn't do it with the amount with the frequency that he has done it already. And does that make you a franchise quarterback? In itself, no, it does not. But when I look at the context of the situations that the Cleveland Browns are in, you have Shedeur Sanders on your roster. He's a fifth round pick. The cheapest he's the cheapest starting quarterback in the NFL right now. Because he's a starter for the rest of the year. You can consider him the starter. He is the cheapest starting quarterback in the NFL. Would be like the maybe the cheapest starting quarterback in recent memory, but Brock Purdy was on a seventh round contract, so I can't say that. But the second. He's the second lowest paid starting quarterback in recent memory because he's a fifth round pick. If if there's a possibility that you can make that work given your situation with two first round picks in the upcoming draft, with Deshaun Watson's contract still on the books, um, like I don't they're gonna restructure, they're gonna throw some void years, the Harvard guys in the front office, they're gonna figure out a way to mitigate his cap hit, but you still gotta deal with it. Having the cheapest starting quarterback in the NFL with two first round picks and then cap room on top of that going into 2026, if I like I I would like to know, I would like someone to tell me why they should not be trying to make that work going forward. And the response is going to be Fernando Mendoza. I saw what he did against Ohio State. He is a great quarterback prospect. He played an excellent game. He has had an excellent season, and I do understand what people see in him. And I'm not gonna say he's not good. He is an excellent quarterback prospect. I can say that. If if you're the Cleveland Browns, I I know for sure that they should not trade up to get Fernando Mendoza. I know that with or without Shador Sanders, this team, this specific team, this that team right there, they don't need to be trading any draft capital before a quarterback fucking ever again. They lost that privilege. They lost that privilege. Now, if you end up in a spot to take him outright, then depending on how you view him, how he interviews, what your draft grade is, you may have to pull the trigger. You may feel like that's what you need to do to get more of a sure thing and play him over Shedeur Sanders. We're sitting here. It's the end of week 14. For all we know, Shador could ball out the rest of the season, or he could flounder. We don't know, but looking at both sides, if he plays well, if he plays well enough, if what happened against the Titans happens for 4 more weeks, but it's the Browns. They still have Bubba Ventrone employed in that building. Special teams loses them the game, or defense loses them the game, or your head coach calling a reverse for the 2 point conversion, causes you to lose the game, and they end up with the number 2 pick or the number 1 overall pick. If that's what do you do there if Shador keeps playing well, if he keeps playing like he did against Tennessee? What do you do? I know what I do. Let me know in the comments what would you do? What are your thoughts? Because I already think he's done enough in 3 games. He showed enough promise and development from when he stepped foot on the field against the Ravens. It's night and day already what he looked like then to now. Now, I'm not saying like he's a finished product. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback in the league, but what I am saying is you've seen him develop a lot in just 3 games. He's shown you a lot what the possibility of his ceiling can be in 3 games. I think he's shown enough for you to be able to say going into 2026, he can be our starter. I'm just gonna say starter. That's the vernacular I'm gonna use is starter. I'm not gonna say franchise quarterback because franchise quarterback implies through the ups and downs you're sticking with him. That's your man, and you're gonna stick beside him. That's what franchise quarterback means. The Titans think they have a franchise quarterback. If they get the first pick again, they're not picking Fernando Mendoza. That's what that's what it means to have a franchise quarterback. So the fact that we're having this conversation means that he's not a franchise quarterback. So I'm gonna say that I think he should be the starter going into 2026. You can I mean, I was gonna say you can bring in competition if you want to, but do you need to? Because it's already gonna be a circus because Deshaun will be back, and I'm sure Dylan Gabriel will still be on the roster. So just go ahead with them. Just go ahead with them. Don't bother. Don't bring in. Zappy can be around as a camp arm and coach on. Basically a coach in the QB room. Whatever y'all seem to like Zappy, cool. Don't really have a problem. I think he should be the starter going into 2026. I really do. I really do. I think he's shown enough. I think he's shown enough because think about what you can do with 2 first round picks that you don't have to use on a quarterback. Think about what you can do with 2 first round picks and a second round pick. You know, the team did such a great job in 2025. Great, I didn't like it at the time, but a great decision to trade back, get Mason Graham, get Quinshawn Judkins, get Carson Schlesinger, get get Harold Fannin Jr. My God, what a specimen! Get Dylan Sampson, get Aiden Huntington. At the back end, like you can scout talent, you can figure these guys out. What a relief would it be to be able to go into that draft and say, I can take a receiver, I can take a Carnell Tate, and I can take an offensive lineman. Get to the second round, I can take another offensive lineman. I could take a corner if I need to, a safety if I need to. We could do a lot. Get into those middle rounds. I could take another tight end because seems like David Njoku might be on his last days in Cleveland. I could I could take a shot at another receiver in the middle rounds. We could do think about what you could do with all these picks when you don't have to worry about taking a quarterback. And I think Shedor's shown enough to justify not taking one. Am I crazy? I don't think I'm crazy. I don't think that's unreasonable. I really don't. I really don't. I'm not sitting here. I'm not saying he's Tom Brady, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying he's top 5. I'm saying he's one of the best 32. I just watched Jalen Hurts throw 4 interceptions. I watched him outplay the number 1 pick last year or this past draft. I watched him outplay the best player in the draft at his same position. I just watched it. He's one of the best 32, and I'll tell you what, he's not 32. He's not 32. I got I we you know I have some stats talking about Baker later, and Baker's not the worst quarterback in the NFL, but somebody else that I'm gonna mention later on. He's 32. He's 32, but we'll get there when we get there. Um, but yeah, so I'm a I'm gonna wrap up talking about Shedeur as the quarterback in 2026. But I want to stay on the general topic of Shedeur Sanders, and I want to get a little introspective with you guys. I want to I want like this is my show, so I can do what I want, and I want to talk about why does this feel so personal to me? Why am I so invested in Shador Sanders' success in the NFL? Why does that mean so much to me? Why did I stay up at in the wee hours of the night in 2024 watching Colorado football games? Why was I real life upset when Shador didn't get drafted in first, didn't get drafted in the second or third or fourth, had to wait until day 3 to get picked? Why did that real life upset me? And I was scrolling through my phone, and I remember on draft weekend I go on Reddit, and it was the discourse was everywhere. Everybody was talking about how does Shador slide this far? What's going on? What happened? It's like, okay, we didn't think, some people like there were people that didn't think he was a first round pick. Like Cam was gonna go, obviously, and Jackson Dart could go, but we never saw Shuck going over him, Dylan Gabriel going over him, Milrow going. Like we never saw this coming. How did he become a 5th rounder? All types of discourse, all types of opinions, all types of everything you could possibly see on the internet, right? And I screenshotted a couple things, a few, of more than a few things, and I'm gonna show them to you. These are all these are all from the draft weekend, like April 27th, 8th, 9th, like that, right around that time. And this this is why his success has been so personal to me, why I take this so seriously, and why I celebrate so hard when he does well, and why a lot of us on the internet celebrate so hard and champion him so hard is because of these comments that I'm going to show you, because it's personal for me, because it was personal for these people. This one, Shedeur not going in round one made my night. Shedeur not going in round one made my night. That's just hater. That's just being a hater. But that's not really that's not really too crazy. That's not really that crazy. That's just like that's sports hate. That's just regular good old fashioned sports hate. Like that could be a Colorado State fan. That could be that could be an Oregon fan. That could be an Oregon, like it could, like that could be any number of teams fan. That's just regular. That's just regular. So I'm not, that, but that's just the appetizer. This is the type of kid who is not going to handle being disciplined by coaches. The first time he's yelled at by someone other than his daddy will not go well for him. This is not a person who will be able to respect his superiors. He's a spoiled rich kid who will eventually realize his life will be easier away from the demands of professional sports. See other spoiled rich kids of other famous superstar athletes as examples. Spoiled rich kid who will realize his life will be much easier away from sports. That's like the inter the internet. People really get on the internet and psychoanalyze these athletes like they're not human beings. These athletes are people. How dare you sit your ass on the couch and type this up? Use your stubby little fingers to type this up about somebody who's taken football seriously for their whole damn life, has dedicated their life to becoming the best football player you can be. And you say he's a spoiled rich kid whose life will be easier away from sports? Let's keep it going. It worked. He's humble now. We should do this every time. That's a Ravens fan, by the way. Was almost on your team. You fuck. The glee in that person's voice. It worked. He's humble now. We should do this every time. That's what they wanted. They wanted him to be humble. They wanted him to be humbled. And this next one, this one isn't the crazy one, but it's pretty. It's pretty. Hold on, you'll see. It's a longer one. Let's be Sorry, you can't. Sorry, you can't see the top. Hold on. It says, "Let's be honest." Go away. Motherfucker, sorry, this one been giving me trouble all night. It said, just trust me. Let's be honest. The reason no one wants to talk about it because it sounds personal, and maybe it is. That doesn't make it wrong. The quarterback position is about leadership, presence, and maturity. Everything about Shedeur screams the opposite of what's required. The psychoanalyzation is crazy. The QB position is about leadership, presence, and maturity. Everything about Shador screams the opposite. So he's not a leader. He doesn't have presence, and he's not mature. Everything that we've seen since he's been in a Browns uniform exudes leadership, presence, and maturity. Every single time he goes up to the podium and the Cleveland media tries to bait him, tries to get him to say something slick, something about Kevin Stefanski. He knocks it down, knocks it away, doesn't take the bait, gives a mature response. The leadership and the presence, you can, dude's literally said he has aura. So is that enough for presence and leadership? I mean, these guys are grown men. They really, I don't know. This is. I'm just go to the next one. And riding Hunter's coattails and being in his shadow as if it was his own. That one really pissed me off. I told you, I think I tweeted this. People think, there's a section of people out there that think he's a Travis Hunter merchant. That think all he did at Colorado was throw to Travis Hunter, and that's why his numbers were what they were. That Travis Hunter was the whole team. Boy, if Shedeur Sanders wasn't the quarterback at Colorado, that team would have been dog shit. Case in point, the 2025 Colorado Buffaloes. Dog shit. Dude is a terrible human being, and it brings me joy to see him suffering. It's as simple as that. What kind of sick ass dude, sick ass person up here says, dude is a terrible human being, and it brings me joy to see him suffering. That that's just weirdo behavior. That's weirdo behavior, and you would expect it from a weirdo. Um, if you are if you are a Reddit user, I'm bring it back up. If you're a Reddit user, go ahead and search his name, his username up, and see what he likes to get into. See what he likes to comment on. That's all I'm gonna say about that one. That's all I'm gonna say about that one. And the last one, it's a lot. It's a lot. Sorry. No, it's the uncomfortable truth about Shador Sanders, where I'm not gonna read this whole thing. Shador Sanders does not carry himself like an NFL quarterback. He doesn't speak like one. he doesn't act like one, and he doesn't think like one either. Every decent quarterback, whether they're a genius or not, at least sounds like they understand the possibility, excuse me, the responsibility that comes with the position. There's usually some sign of intelligence. Maybe it's how they break down film, their ability to adapt to their situation. Maybe it's the way they carry themselves in the locker room, field, when a mic is in front of them. Intelligence can come in many forms. With Shedeur, I don't see an ounce of intelligence. Shedeur is a straight up moron. I'm certain of this because he was born with the world in his hands, and the only thing he's somewhat proficient at is on field QB ability. He opens his mouth and is like a walking red flag parade. The guy sounds clueless, cocky, and completely unaware of what it actually takes to be a professional quarterback. No humility, no accountability, no self awareness, a lot of flash, posturing, cringeworthy quotes, and branding. Shador couldn't read a room to save his life. You know what that sounds like. I don't have to come out and say what it sounds like. Comments comments like that are why people jump to the conclusion about Kevin Stefanski hating him. That's why. That's why they do that. Because there are people out here that think like that. He said he's not intelligent, said he's a moron. Just say what you want to say. Just really go ahead. Nobody will be mad. It's anonymous. It's anonymous on Reddit. You could just call them an N and get it over with. We ain't even have to type all that long novel paragraph. We didn't have to do all that. You could just call them an N and move on with your day. So, if you're wondering why I'm so invested in the success of Shedeur Sanders, maybe to a fault, that's why. Because I've ingested and consumed a lot of content that looks like that. It looks like that, sounds like that. Some not as bad, some worse. It is what it is. There's so many people, calling him Shaduki. Just blatant disrespect, just juvenile behavior. It's dumb, and it's not just something that happens with Shador. It happens with a lot of athletes. It happens to a lot of athletes, and you think one thing, and it is what it is. But if you want to know why I'm so invested, I just gave you a list of reasons why. So, those people want to relish in his pain and his discomfort. I hope on Sunday they were watching, and I hope they were in pain, and I hope they were in discomfort. Um yeah, that's really all I got to say about that. Last thing, this is a long episode. It's one of the haven't done an episode this long in a minute. But the last thing, I'm gonna be real quick about this one. Baker Mayfield, Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost to the New Orleans Saints 24-20. Baker Mayfield box score was terrible. I don't have it pulled up. You can look it up, or you can take my word for it. His box score was terrible. Um, I made time. I took time in my day to make sure I watched that game. I didn't see it live. I was at the Browns game. I watched it. The first half was fine. The first quarter was, literally on the stat sheet perfect. Didn't have an incompletion. Second half was fine. I think it was like a few incompletions, but they were like it's nothing. nothing crazy, like no, like through no fault of his own. Like quarterbacks throw incomplete passes from time to time, like that's going to happen. Um, First half was fine. In the second half, he threw an interception, ter- terrible pass. Like that pass gave me PTSD to when in 2021 he he threw a pick to the Detroit Lions. He threw a pick to Detroit Lions and it was so bad. He overthrew a receiver like incredibly bad. And he like didn't talk to the media afterwards. He was pissed off. I think he did talk to the media, and he had one of his little Baker Mayfield days, whatever. But it gave me PSD to that. It was terrible. It was a terrible interception. He's also getting his balls batted down at the line of scrimmage again. They couldn't, you know, as a team with Baker throwing the ball and their run game, they could not, for the life of them, consistently convert on third and fourth down. They were at one point they were 2-8 on third, 1-4 on fourth downs. I mean 1-4 on fourth downs is three turnovers. It like I'm telling you guys, I've seen this movie before. I've seen this movie before. Baker with a messed up left shoulder injury. It's not gonna go well. The movie does not end well. I'd never thought I would see a 2021 sequel, but it looks like we're living through it right now. Um, in his case, he has better people to throw the ball to, but it didn't matter. He tried to throw a ball to Emeka Ibuka that should have been a touchdown. I will say Emeka should have caught it, but the pass was high. The pass was high, but it was catchable. Um, so I'm giving if it's a blame pie, I'm going 50-50. And Mecca should have caught it, but the pass was a little bit higher than you would have liked it to be. Um, but yeah, I've seen this movie before. It doesn't end well. And the stat that I'm gonna leave you guys with is since week 7, if you are into analytics and like the real in-depth nerd stats, EPA, estimated points added, and CPOE, completion percentage over expectation. Those two stats since week 7, Baker is the 36th ranked quarterback out of 37 who've thrown at least 80 passes in that time frame. In those two stats, EPA, CPOE, he's 36 out of 37 since week 7. I thought he was the MVP through week 5, week 6. He's shit the bed since then. He is shit the bed this then. He wasn't hurt this whole time. He wasn't hurt this whole time. Yes, wide receiver injuries. I understand, but it's the NFL. Everybody's hurt. Everybody's hurt. Everybody has a player or two out. I understand you lost Mike Evans, you lost Chris Godwin for a time, Emeka Buka got hurt for a time. You did make do for a little bit. You throwing to Tez Johnson, making Tez Johnson go off. So it is what it is. Next man up. You're the quarterback. You got to figure it out. You can't be 36 out of 37. And who was that 37th quarterback? You ask. It's JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy, to bring it all back, JJ McCarthy is the 32nd best quarterback in the NFL. Actually, third he's the of the starting 32, he's number 32 cuz there are quarterbacks that are backup quarterbacks right now that are better than JJ McCarthy, and I would bet my life on that. He's real bad. I don't give a damn what he just did against the Commanders. I didn't see it. I haven't watched it yet. I don't give a damn what the box score, what the stat line was. He's ass. He's ass, and I'm sorry. I I didn't know what I was missing when he went in the first round, when people were hyping him up as a top 10 pick. I didn't know what they were seeing that I wasn't seeing, but I mean, seems like seems like I didn't miss anything. The brother is ass. Um, but yeah, man, that's another episode of the BJack 70 show. It's a long one. If you're still here, I appreciate you watching. Appreciate you being here. If you care enough to watch this long, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you really want to do me a favor, share this episode. Share a couple episodes. Share the link to the home YouTube homepage. Help grow the channel. Help me get a little bit of exposure. I'd appreciate it. I'd appreciate it. Trying to build a community. It's growing more and more each day, getting more and more views each day. And that's thanks to you. That's thanks to you. So thank you. Thank you for being here. But with that being said, long episode, a lot of yapping, no cuts in between. Hey, until the next time, we'll see you.